on.
Good morning, everyone. So today in Unit 2, Lesson 4, we are going to go over how to plan a news report. The last few lessons we've talked about how news reports are structured, how headlines are created. So now you're actually going to go through and plan a news report. I just want to be clear. You're not going to have to write the whole thing. You're not going to have to put it together in paragraphs. You're not going to have to make it flow, etc. You're simply going to plan an outline of a news report. So just wanted to go over a few things in your lesson here today. There's a number of different things you have to do. So just wanted to make sure everything is clear. So what we're going to be doing is you're going to take a look at the concept of point of view. Okay? And every newspaper article has a certain point of view. Each newspaper publication has a certain point of view. Some are slanted more conservative, some are slanted more liberal, some fall somewhere in the middle. What we want, what we're striving for in writing is to try to be as unbiased as possible. And I want you, after this lesson, to understand that a lot of news reporters need to be accountable for their information. Their information has to be accurate. And this quote here by Herbert Bernard Swope says, "The first duty of newspapers is to be accurate. If it be accurate, it follows it to be fair." So we're going to talk about how to create a fair and accurate news report. So we talked a little bit yesterday about the 5 W's and the H. So who, what, where, how, why, when. You're still going to have to do this. We talked a little bit about some tips for writing a good body paragraph. Please go through and read the lesson. There's a number of interactive activities that I think that help you understand the concept of showing and telling, how we review information, and using quotations. And I think all these three are especially important. This one is especially important. Please go through and you can take notes on each one of these. A little discussion about the angle of a news report, how to create an angle on a news report, how to identify news reports with an angle, so with a certain slant, like I said, whether it be conservative or liberal, etc. And we want to try to write our news articles when we do our writing with as little angle as possible. Here we have a discussion of how to embed a link in a Padlet. We're asking you to go down and do a Padlet today. Here's the Padlet. What it asks you to do is go and find a newspaper article, something that you're interested in. You could use any one of the links that I provided in lesson 1, and find an article that you're somewhat interested in. Always a good thing to write about things you're interested in. And then I would like for you to summarize the article. And I've included, I've given you an example here. So this one was an article about a cyclist that assaulted someone who's driving a car. So here's the summary, just an example summary, and this is the embedded link in the Padlet. So I've included a video. The video is up here. I'm sorry, down here, below it, somewhere here. This video will explain how to do that. You could simply copy and paste the link, but there's a specific way to embed the link that uses the thumbnail, which helps me as a teacher because I don't have to necessarily always go to the article to understand what it's about. I can simply glance at it, like down here. The thumbnail tells me exactly what it's about. So watch the video, make a discussion post, finding an article, summarizing it. Please embed the link properly. Now, then we're going to go down, and you're not going to actually have to do the actual news report. Okay, so big red, you do not have to write the actual report. This is just a planning assignment. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the Google Doc. Sorry, it's already here. And you're going to go in. So the article that you create, you're going to have to create an article. This isn't something that you find, and you're not pulling these things out of an existing newspaper article. You are creating one. So it shouldn't be that hard. So because everything has to be, it comes from your imagination. Just make sure whatever you're writing about obviously is appropriate, and it was a topic that would appear in a mainstream newspaper or magazine, please. So what is the headline? Write the headline down. What would be your byline? What would be your lead? So lead being the first sentence of the piece should be interesting enough that's going to hook the reader in. The who, what, when, where. Okay, try to be as specific as possible here. Obviously, we talked about before, the more detail you use, the more examples, the more quotes you use, the better your mark is going to be. Down here, you're going to include your quotes. Now, again, you're making this up, so you're simply making up the quotes and the people who say them. Remember, as the lesson says, you want to try to include at least two different sources to try to give both sides of a situation. Like in the example I gave on my Padlet, the biker who assaulted the driver, you might definitely want to talk to both the driver and the biker to get kind of both sides, and then go through your conclusion. What is your conclusion? Okay, and some remarks here. Down here, again, reinforce. Just write down what are the key ideas. Suggest possible follow-up stories that may come as a result. Like, in other words, what would you do tomorrow? How would you follow up with the story if you were writing a paper tomorrow? And then a little feedback here for me. What you found easy about this assignment, what you're having some difficulty with. Again, in order to improve upon my skills, we always want to be reflective, right? We talked about in Unit 1, Lesson 7, what it means to be a reflective reader and reflective learner. This is where we're putting this into account. And again, just want to emphasize, you do not have to then take this and actually write it out in paragraph form. Okay, you simply need to plan it out. Just make sure, it's somewhat interesting, you have an interesting lead, and it's appropriate. Okay, thanks very much, guys. I hope you have fun with this assignment. It's kind of coming from you. Again, as always, I said, try to find something, write about something you're interested in. That way you'll have the most knowledge about it and have a little motivation to do well with it. Okay, thanks, everybody, and have a good day.